Hello. Since I will be playing a lot of ranked, and the ranked season has already started, I decided to make a new type of gameplay vid, which will mostly feature different types of ships in the current ranked season, and analysis of the gameplay, things done right, things done wrong, and so forth. First of all, I'm playing the Gneisenau, I'm on my NA account. This was a game from yesterday that I felt highlighted a lot of good and bad points. First of all, I start by pinging, of course, the B objective and telling people that go there together. It's always a good idea to give a pretty direct, orders or directions to your team at the start. I mean, as long as someone says something, let's do this, and people agree, it will be a better gameplay experience. Now, of course, you'll always get at times you'll always get better special snowflakes that will run off and do their own stupid things, but that's just something you have to deal with. First of all, you also notice that I'm pushing fairly close to the islands here, and in fact there's a pretty high chance that I will get spotted by the enemy going to the A, and I'm perfectly okay with this. This is a game with multiple cruisers and only 2 battleships, so I don't really care too much because I want the cruisers to open up fire on me so that me and my team can return fire on them in return. I mean, everyone has concealment expert these days, so in order to actually get to shoot at the enemy, especially at the start, you need them to shoot at you first. So when I'm spotted here, I don't really mind too much. I'm more than happy to let them open up and give us the opportunity to fire back. Shores, a very squishy cruiser, and he's capping, so hitting him, which would delay their cap, would be fantastic. Someone else did hit him, it looks like, so we delayed their cap a bit, which is always good, but it's mostly going to be their DD that is capping. They're opening up, they're shooting me, I don't mind too much, I can eat a bit of damage. Even with IFHE, it's not the end of the world. I get 2 fires, but I'm undetected, so I don't mind repairing. In fact, because I'm undetected, I make my turn now and disengage, because now we have a lot of targets to fire at, which was obviously what I wanted to begin with. Atlanta giving a lot of broadside, or Atlanta in general being spotted, is always a good target to shoot at. Now, the Gneisenau didn't really make my cut as a top tier competitive ship, but all battleships are considered competitive in my opinion, because of course they have the ability to damage ships at long range, they are quite tanky, and a battleship will always be a strong asset as long as they are not played by a complete potato. But even a complete potato in a battleship should have some impact. Oh, I should have shot in front of him. I didn't expect him to react as quickly as he did. I thought he was going to keep reversing, but he did react as soon as I shot, and he was able to dodge those shells. A bit of a mistake, but it does happen. I pop my heal. Of course, all the damage I've taken so far have been mostly fire and light damage, so I'm able to heal up most, if not all of it. So the scouting information I got to start didn't really cost me more than basically 1 consumable. Let's see, Shores. Shores is of course another ship that did not make it to my list of recommended ships. That's mostly because it turns very sluggishly and it has massive citadel. In fact, any long range shells, much like on the Pensacola, have a very high chance of landing citadels. And combined with the fairly low HP pool on the Shores, you can see that's what, 60% of his HP gone, and he's gonna have to play extremely careful the rest of the game or he's going to die. That's of course why the Shores never made it to mine. Even though yes, it can pump out some decent damage, it suffers from a lot of issues. Now, my York is playing a bit too much in the open. In a cruiser in general, you want to survive as long as possible. And do you see this York? He's pushing into them, and you cannot die early. York is a DPM machine, which means the longer you stay alive, the more sustained damage you will do, and the more you'll be able to use your various consumables to help your team and so forth. This is especially important in radar cruisers, so pushing in and dying like that is not a good idea. He should be playing in cover, like the Fijis on my right are doing, and let basically me do the one who's taking the hits, taking the punches. The Gneisenau south of me, he's playing too passive. You see how far back that Gneisenau is. The Gneisenau, as I said, suffers from fairly weak German dispersion, only having 6 guns. So you kind of want to be fairly close to the enemy, in their face, so to say, that to mitigate the issues with the terrible dispersion. So of course the Gneisenau sitting far back and sniping, well, he's not going to be hitting very much from that distance, is he? Oh, Mayoko is turning. You notice you always want to wait patiently. Whenever you see a cruiser turning, let him commit to the turn. And once he commits, that's when you can really punish him for making turns in front of the enemy, which you of course should never do. So I'm able to punish him with the double citadel. Both cruisers I've been able to punish have been ships that have been giving a lot of broadside, which is a broadside especially in the open while being spotted, which are two big no-nos. My Myoko for some reason pushes in and grounds once again. If you didn't get the information at the start that I said, we should play safe and just pick them off. But people, especially in these ranks, tend to like to push far too much. They don't know how to really just play and sustain and deal damage from safety and not take unnecessary risks, but rather they like diving in too much, as both the York and the Myoko has showed. Nagata made a huge mistake there. He gave full broadside, and of course the Nagata is a great long-range damage dealer because of the guns and the accuracy, but it does have a fairly easily citadelable middle, and if you're gonna park full broadside like he did, well, then you're gonna suffer a lot of damage. I took the shot at the DD, which you should of course always do. Now, there is a Fiji. I don't know if it's going to move in. I am undetected and the Fiji here has smoked up. I'm not entirely certain why, but I'm going to use his smoke for a while, and I of course pop my double spotter planes. I run the double spotter plane perk. Even though I'm not fighting any enemies, I use it here because there was a Shiratsuyu, so there might be torps incoming. That will give me advanced warning, and also that spotter plane or fighter plane is spotting the Fiji. And I think the Myoko is being spotted by it as well. So I use it a lot for information, and one got shut down, but that's why I run the perk, so the other one is still giving me information. The Fiji is moving up, which is of course always good information to know. I'm waiting for him to see if he's going to peek. Let's see, will he actually push through? If he pushes through there, he's probably going to die. Especially since Blue Sky even launched preemptive torps. Oh, there he is. He's smoked up, but you gotta be careful when you smoke up in positions like that. First of all, smoking up that close to a landmark, as he did, means that it's very easy to gauge how far away you should aim and where you should put your crosshair to hit him. So him parking right next to the island made it very easy for me to predict his position. And the smoke, of course, doesn't make you invulnerable by any means. You're still able to get hit. So that was a very risky position. In fact, if you're gonna park next to islands, keep a bit of a distance from them if you're a Fiji or something like that. Because if you park right next to the ledge, you are such an easy target to shoot at. And well, you see what happens to such easy targets. Even a Gneisenau is capable of citadeling them. Now sadly my team is pushing into the enemy spawn, which I really don't like. In fact, that was one of the first things I said. I really dislike when teams try to push into the enemy spawn. I tell them to turn around, we should defend B. They have a numerical advantage. We have only 5 ships, they are 7. So it favors us to play defensive and let them push into us and kill them as they push into us, because they're not pushing with healthy ships and they're pushing with cruisers. They only have one Scharnhorst that's moving away, so we could easily whittle them down. So, but sadly my team does not listen and they're more interested in, I don't know what they're doing, they're pushing into the enemy base. And this happens. So I'm still fairly healthy, but I'm gonna try to hold them back from B, because if I go with them there, we give up B, and then they get a 2 capture advantage, and then we have nothing giving us points. Oh, Shiratsuyu showing himself. That's a terrible move from him. Instantly take the shot. Call the target on him, of course, to get my teammates to shoot at him. Fiji is shooting. Oh, there he is. I don't know if I aimed high enough. There again, of course, Gneisenau dispersion. The gunpowder is, of course, one of the reasons why this ship will never really make it into my top tier. It's a... Oh, am I gonna able to fit? We just barely fit between those torps. And the Gneisenau is a strong brawler, but when you can't really push in and brawl, it does suffer a fair amount. As you can see here, this hits, struggling to land these hits that shouldn't really be that hard, but with the dispersion that you have in the ship, it's very hit and miss. Oh, you see, B is being contested. I know there's an Atlanta down there, and I see B is being contested, so that tells me the Atlanta is sailing through B. And with this information, I instantly launch my torps to the left, because I know the Atlanta probably wants to ambush me. So you gotta keep your map awareness with you, and of course that information that I used earlier means that my blind prediction of torps is going to catch that Atlanta completely off guard and nail him. I am unable to dodge these torps, but instead of turning into them, I intentionally ground to the left, because not only does it put me in a good cover, but I also make sure to take that torpedo on the belt, which means that my torpedo belt kicks in and I take reduced damage. There's also a significantly reduced chance of being of flooding when you take it on the torpedo belt, whereas taking it on the nose is a 100% guaranteed chance of flooding. So we now managed to even the game to a 5 versus 5 thanks to that kill, but we still have an issue, and that's mostly because they're pushing the enemy base. We are losing ours. We're actually not generating any points right now, while the enemy team is constantly generating points, so this is an issue. Second of all, the Shiratsuyu is capping our base, and I have absolutely no chance of taking him on. The blue sky is moving there, but he is moving fairly late. At this point I just throw my torps in there, not really too bothered. Okay, those torps literally did not go where my indication pointed they should go. That was interesting. That's, I guess, a bit of a glitch that does happen. Anyway, pushing in, Nagato showing broadside. It's a stock Nagato, never bring stock ships to ranked. They are such a vulnerability. I do take him quite low. I angle in, of course, to reduce the damage he can deal to me. I'm calling target on him to hope my team would finish him off here. No one seems to want to shoot at him though, which is of course a bit awkward. Please finish him off. Okay, they're gonna let him get away. Fiji shows himself. Fiji you can pretty much overmatch, I'm pretty sure, from pretty much any angle, so I don't care about him being angled like this. Now it just comes down to dispersion. I do get one hit, but one bounce as well. He is he pushing in? Okay, the Gneisenau is trying to torp him, I think. We are losing another ship again. The Bliska did manage to scare off the Shiratsuyu, but we had already lost the cap. Now the Fiji is pushing me, so I instantly start reversing because I know he wants to torp me. Let's see if I can just delete him here. But did you see that dispersion? That's of course one of the weaknesses of the Gneisenau, and that's just something you have to swallow and admit that yes, the dispersion on the ship is not very good, and you're gonna have some frustrating situations like that. That's okay, I'm gonna keep angled. And as soon as I see that he smokes up, I put my crosshair right on him before he fades out. And I keep my crosshair on exactly where he faded out. So as soon as my guns reload, I instantly shoot them where my crosshair is aiming. And of course, since I had them on where the Fiji disappeared, I was still able to nail them. If you see someone fading out like that, just keep your crosshair on them at all times. Don't start fiddling your mouse about, because it's really hard to find the exact spot you were aiming at earlier. Just make sure you keep your mouse steady and you aim at exactly the point where he disappeared. That way you can pull off shots like that where they disappear from vision but you're still able to delete them. Sadly, once again, we're losing members all around me, and this game is becoming quite hard. Biggest issue right now is this Fiji is half HP, and he's very much in the open, and I think like the Scharnhorst is focusing on him. So I have 24k HP, he has 46k, so he has almost twice my HP, which is of course an issue. But he's working on my Fiji, which is of course an issue, and I'm gonna take this moment to attack him. I did saw the Shiratsuyu move out, so I know there might be torps incoming, and I also expect torps from the Scharnhorst. That's why I sail straight like this. You see how I'm sailing straight, giving a bit too much broadside even? That's because I'm baiting his torpedoes. And now when I'm pretty sure he has launched his torpedoes, this is when I start turning hard left and angling. And hopefully his torpedoes will soon pass by my right side, because I baited them out by basically making it look like I was going to sail in a straight line and then changing course. And there's the predictable torpedoes, which are now dodged. I angle, turn to the left, away from where this Shiratsuyu is. In case he is torping, I'll be able to turn to the left to avoid them. I try to still remain angled towards the Scharnhorst, of course. I keep fully AP. There's no point launching my torps yet. First of all, he's 6 km away, which is the max range. There's the predicted Shiratsuyu torps. So I turn away from them and let them pass by on both my sides. Now, as I was saying, there's no point launching my torps when he's 6 km away and sailing away. First of all, my range is 6 km, so basically they will run out. There's no way. There's no point even wasting them. But I want to keep them as a threat as well, and I want to keep herding him, because he can angle away from me so far, but soon he's going to run out of space, and that's what I'm waiting for. I still have one heel left. I'm not going to repair one fire because the second fire could be disastrous if I do burn my repair on it. And I'm going to keep pushing him. The issue here is that I don't know if he's running Adrenaline Rush or not, and his torps might be reloaded by now. He does finally get cornered. In fact, he grounds. He is so that desperate to keep his distance from me. And I keep herding him into the corner. This is of course why Scharnhorst isn't my top tier ship, because, well, it quite struggles when dealing with a situation like this. Because, well, his best option would have honestly to rush me back this way. And he can't really do anything against me when I'm angled. Anyway, I know that he's grounded, so I finally use my torps, and I try to turn away because I suspect he might have torped me now, so I'm gonna see if I can dodge the next volley. However, he seems to have shot them just as I started turning to the right, so he will manage to clip me with a torp. But the situation he is in is so dire that he has no escape anymore, and as long as my Fiji doesn't suicide here, I should be able to clear this guy out. So I managed to get a kill on the Scharnhorst. So overall, I used all of my strengths, my angling. I spent most of this game angle and just absorbing hits for my team. But sadly, it wasn't enough. My Fiji managed to get himself torped by the Shiratsuyu, and this game did in fact end in a defeat. However, I still, looking at the scoreboard or looking at the performance, I still did 156,000 damage in a ranked game, and considering they only had 2 battleships and it was mostly cruisers I was fighting, which is not exactly the optimal Gneisenau matchup, I consider this a fairly good game. But of course, when you are playing ranked, especially before rank 5 or so, you kind of have to solo carry the game to get a win. Looking at the scoreboard, not much to say. 1.7k base XP, that's pretty okay. But looking at the stats, it actually gets pretty interesting, mostly the fact that I tanked the 100,000 damage and my potential damage is 2.7 million. So I absorbed 2.7 million damage for my team, which I consider pretty important. In fact, that's a lot of value given to the team. Sadly, they were unable to capitalize on this advantage at all, and it still ended up in a loss. But regardless, this was the first of my series. I will try to cover more ships and how I prefer to play them in ranked later on. I think I'll take the Belfast next because that one is so insanely popular now for a very good reason. Anyway, let's go over my quick recommended ranked build for the Gneisenau. Right, starting off, consumable wise, this is ranked. You should be running premium repair and premium heal at least. Upgrade wise, main armaments mod 1. Aiming system mod 2 for that reduced dispersion. This ship, if any, needs it badly. Damage control system mod 1 and steering gears because, well, you want to be actually able to dodge something since the turning circle is quite massive on this thing. Oh, I actually hadn't gotten the range upgrade on the ship yet. I guess I'll get that next. Order priority is of course hull, speed, followed by range. Range I kinda didn't really think about because, well, I never really need the range because you shouldn't be sitting far enough back to actually need the range to begin with. Captain perks wise, this is a new captain, this is my NA account. Preventive maintenance, don't want to lose turrets or torpedo tubes. Direction center, those double catapult fighters give you so much spotting information in ranked. Turret traverse, because it's pretty meh on this ship, but I think you could kind of get away with not using it and instead using Adrenaline Rush as well. Either one works. Superintendent, Concealment Expert, and Manual AA in case you do run into a carrier, you don't want to be completely helpless. Adrenaline Rush is certainly something I would put points in, the next 2 points in fact, and if I did get a full 19-point captain, I might give up something like the double spotter plane and get Jack of all... no... actually high alert instead for faster repair is probably what I would kick in after this. So that's ultimately my Gneisenau build, very similar to my Berserker build. Pretty much the Berserker build works just great in ranked. Anyway, that was my commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it.